Everyone, Paul here. Today I'm going to be going over a strategy for trading, and with this strategy, basically what you just need MACD, and you just need to understand how to draw parallel channels. So doing this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding a parallel channel, basically either a ascending channel or a descending channel. We'll look at the longest time frame first, and that we'll plug it in with the MACD, and then from that we'll be able to make decisions on the best entry point to come in for trades. So today we're going to be looking at crypto. I'll go through Bitcoin, maybe I'll go through some other ones, but we're going to go first to the longest time frame. We'll start with the weekly, and then we'll go down, and then we'll kind of look at it with the MACD and see where some good positions would be to enter for longs or short. So basically, you do want to go with the trend. So if the parallel channel is going up, if it's ascending up, you want to focus on uptrends. If it's going down, you want to focus on downward movements. But I'm gonna plug it in. You really only need one indicator, but you just have to know how to draw parallel channels. That's the other indicator. But I'm gonna show you how to do that. We're gonna look at crypto today. Okay, so first I want to do this. So for this, really all you need is MACD, and I have my settings changed to 1348. That's the only difference here. Other than that, we'll be working with the parallel channel here. And first I want to look at Bitcoin here, and we're going to go far out. Now, for future trades, you don't have to base everything off the weekly, but it is a good idea to measure this with the weekly when you're first doing this, so you get a good idea. So what you want to do is you want to try and find two touching points for either from the bottom to the top, or top and the bottom if it's a downtrend. So what we want to do, we want to go to parallel channel, and you want to go to the lowest point, which is down here, and we are on weekly right now. And then you want to find two touching points. You see one right here, touches down there in the bottom, and then up there at the top. So then once you have your two touch points, you want to scale this to the top of the highest wick, basically. And we'll do that right here. So you see there is your channel, and right there is your channel for Bitcoin, and that's where it's been moving in the bullish run for quite some time. We could tell that overall it is still in a bullish momentum. So that's looking at on the weekly. Now, since we drew the weekly parallel channel, we can go to the day and get a better idea of how long this has been going up. It's been going up since right around here. So it's just important to look at it on the weekly, but we don't need to base anything on weekly. What I try looking for is I'll try looking for patterns on the daily, kind of work your way down. So you see one kind of right here. So if you want to go to your parallel channel, you want to go to your lowest, which is down here, and you want to go to your highest, which is up here, where the ticks are touching, basically. So from there, and then you want to push it all the way up, and you'll see the channel, and you'll see that Bitcoin right now is in an ascending channel on the daily. And if we look at the last candle from where we are right now, we can tell that Bitcoin it's close to the bottom of that ascending channel. So basically what we want to use the MACD for is we want to wait till this candle gets as close to the bottom as possible, but then you want to look for crosses on the MACD, basically. So we know that from looking at this right now, we can tell that it's at the bottom of an ascending channel. So what you want to do is you kind of want to see it, because when you look at the MACD closer, okay, when the lines are below the histogram, it is still considered in a bearish momentum. So you really need to wait for there to be a cross up here, then down here. So what you kind of want to wait for is for the lines to cross down and kind of get closer and come through the histogram and come up here. And you want to see it kind of, cross down, cross back up right around. If it comes up here, that would be better. So let's just see if we have an example here. Since we know the trend is going up, we want to get in our trade. That would have been a little bit of fake out. But right, like this trade right here would have been one. And there's one here, but it's going through it. And then this one would have been a trade right here. So that's kind of what you want to look for. If you're looking for uptrend, you want to make sure that the lines are above the histogram for the most part. Right now, it still can come down. It could get anywhere close to, and you can also use this to actually make a judgment to be like, well, if it's on an ascending channel, the lows it probably can go would be 108. So you can still make that judgment and base your trade off that if you want to wait out a little bit of a negative balance when you're trading. It's most likely to catch a bounce right around here. So I personally would wait for it to come down closer to that line. But anyway, that is looking at on the daily. Now what I would personally do is I would leave the daily there and I would go down to a smaller time frame. And we still have information that we can go by. So we still have the parallel channel from the ascending from when we did it on the daily. So you can look at your MACD and basically you can wait. You want to get in when it's going back up because that's the bottom of the ascending channel. So basically you want to wait for your MACD to kind of turn around at this point. Looking at this on the hour. Now, what you can actually do is you can draw more parallel channels if you want, if that helps you out. So we can draw, let's just see if we can get one here. I see one forming. So let's just go back to our parallel channels. Got one down here, all the way up here. And if we just move that up here, we have another ascending. We have an ascending channel on the hour. So if it ends up breaking this line right here, it's going to go down further, but it could bounce from this because this is the bottom of another ascending channel. So that's basically what you do. You want to get good at making your parallel channels, and then you want to base it off of what the MACD is telling you. So if you're in a bullish, you need to wait for bullish moments. You need to look at your MACD. Right now, we know that on the daily here, if we zoom out as much as we can, if we zoom out, you know that you're on an ascending channel upward. From looking at this on the daily, as long as it does not break this line, because this is the daily, as long as it doesn't break this line, more than likely we're going to see a kind of a reversal coming around here. So you just want to look at your MACD and find a good moment to get in. So you need to wait for the MACD to kind of come down, turn around, come back up. So that's kind of where you would re-enter again. So that's looking at Bitcoin. Real quickly, let's just look at one other crypto here. Let's look at Ethereum. Let's look at this one real quick. And let's first look at the weekly. See if we can find anything. So I see it right away on the weekly here. So go to our parallel channel. And we go from here all the way up to here. And then we drag it all the way to the top. The highest wick that we have. And then you make your judgment, and we see on the weekly that we are in a bullish moment. So if you were going to be making a long-term trade here, now keep in mind these are weekly candles. If these are weekly candles, I would wait for a pullback till it gets close to this point, and then I would enter around here for Ethereum, because this is the bottom of the weekly. And if it does get close to this bottom, just look at your MACD and what you want to look for on the weekly. If you find this on the weekly, it has to come down. It has to come down, it has to turn around and come back up. So that can be a while, but there can be a pullback down, and then once these lines cross again, it'd be a good moment to get back in. When these cross on the weekly, that is a pretty good trade, and that's a pretty good long-term trade to have. So you see this happen right here. Now this is below the histogram, so I personally would look for when it's closest, when it's above the histogram. So we see that happen kind of right here. You see that happen right here where it's crossing. And you see that happen right about here where there's a crossing. So those would be good trades on a very long-term trade. These are weekly. But if you want to look at this on the daily, you go down to the daily. Go down to the daily. And let's see if we could see any. Let's see if we go and we get to our parallel channel. We have our lowest point right here to the highest point. Well, I see one right here. Touch point right here. There's a touch point right there. And I just don't really see, I see a wick right there. So let's just connect to that one. So get parallel channel. Go down from here all the way on the top. There's one right there where it's touching barely. 2 touch points. There's one right here. And then you ride it all the way up. And there's your channel right here. So right now it's looking to be at the bottom. So this could be a good entry point for Ethereum to ride it back up. So basically that's what you do. You go to your weekly. You know, the weekly will only work if you really find the signal and there's a cross on. When you go to your weekly and you see the channel and then you see the 2 lines crossing, that's the only time really to get in on a weekly, because that's a long-term trade. Other than that, I would go to your daily, where we drew the channel, and then I would make my judgments based off of another smaller time frame, like the hour. If you see the cross, right now we're not crossing, but I'd wait for these 2 lines to cross. That's basically when I would re-enter again. So that's how you use the parallel channels with the MACD, and for crypto it worked for these. So for this strategy, all you need is just your MACD. With the MACD, I changed my settings to 1348 for the fast and slow link. Other than that, you just have to look at it with your parallel channel, and you have to do it on the highest time frame and work your way down. It's good to understand where you are on the weekly, but unless you see those lines crossing on the weekly, it's really You can't really hold trades for a very long time unless you see it crossing. But you can also use that as an indication on when we are going to start really tanking. You could check it for that. But other than that, I would go with the daily draw your parallel channel on the daily, and then go to like your hour for the best scalps. I wouldn't do this on a 15-minute. The hour, after you draw your parallel channel, the hour gives kind of the best results. Just wait for the MACD to cross at certain points, and you can usually find some pretty good trades. And when you're doing it on the hour, you don't really have to do this, it won't be intraday, but it could usually lead to some pretty good trades. So anyway, if you guys like the strategy, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.